Alright, so today I am going to look at this article called The 15 Most Expensive Watches Ever, 2021 edition. I'm just going to go through all the watches. Now, just for the record, I'm stealing this content. This is not my content. I didn't do the research. I'm just presenting it to you on YouTube. I'm just going to go through the article, I'm going to show you the pictures, and I'm just going to condense it into a video format. So all the credit for this goes to this website called Boss Hunting. I've never heard of them before, but they've got this sweet article, so we're going to go through it. Number 15 is a Rolex Daytona reference 6265, dubbed the Unicorn. And it was commissioned by a scholar named John Goldberger, who was actually interviewed by Hodinkee, and I'll leave that interview in the description below. The watch was auctioned in 2018. It's a 37mm white gold case, and it's a one of a kind because it was commissioned by this guy John Goldberger. Now, Rolex wouldn't do something like that today, but I guess in 1970 you could do that. It sold at auction for $8.8 million. Number 14 is a Patek Phillipe reference 5208T-010. And this watch made an appearance at the Only Watch auction, which is an auction that benefits charity, in which watch companies create one-of-a-kind watches for people to buy, and the proceeds go to charity, which is really cool. This one was from 2017, and rather than the usual precious metal cases that Patek Philippe uses for the regular production models of this watch, they used a titanium case for this watch, which Patek Philippe does not do often at all. It's unique in that way, and it sold at auction for $9.2 million. Number 13 is another Patek Philippe reference 1527. It's a 37.6mm perpetual calendar chronograph in yellow gold, and it's one of only two known examples of this reference. The other example of this reference went to the Patek Philippe Museum. The watch was made in 1944, and it was likely made at the request of a Patek Philippe client. It sold at auction for $9.3 million. Number 12 is another Patek Philippe Caliber 89. It's a pocket watch that was made in 1989. At the time, it was the most complicated watch in the world, with 33 complications. There were 4 examples of this watch made in different precious metals, but this white gold example sold at auction for $9.8 million. Number 11 is another Patek Philippe reference 2523, the Eurasia dial. Now, these Patek Philippes with the enamel dial, they always go for a lot of money. It's a yellow gold case with a cloisonné enamel dial featuring a map of Eurasia, which is one of only 3 to exist. It has a world time complication, which is set using 2 different crowns, and it was actually sold this year, 2021, at auction for $10.4 million. Number 10 is yet another Patek Philippe reference 5016A-010, and it's another watch that was made for the Only Watch charity auction. So it's a one-of-one piece unique. It was made in stainless steel. The regular production models of this watch are only made in precious metal, so it was unique to have this watch in steel. It's a 36.8mm case, and it has a perpetual calendar, a minute repeater, and a tourbillon. The regular production of the 5016 was only produced from 1993 till 2011, and it was only available to VIP clients through an application process. So, you know, if you think it's tough to get Steel Sports Rolex, try getting one of these 5016s. It sold at the 2015 Only Watch charity auction for $10.8 million. Number 9, not a Patek Philippe, a Vacheron Constantin reference 57260. I personally think this is an absolutely gorgeous watch. The dial is just so attractive. But, you know, it's a pocket watch. Although I'm a wristwatch collector and enthusiast, I can appreciate a good pocket watch, but this thing's massive. This watch weighs 956 grams. Just for reference, a steel Submariner weighs about 150 grams. So this pocket watch weighs about 6 times as much as a sub. It's got 57 different complications with 2,826 individual components. It's a white gold case that measures 98 millimeters in diameter and 50 millimeters thick. So if you think that 14 millimeter Sea Dweller is thick, check this thing out at 50 millimeters. It sold for $13.5 million. Number 8 is a Patek Phillipe reference 2523 Gobi Milan. It's another one of these enamel dials. It's a 35.5 millimeter pink gold case, again with those dual crowns. It has the name of the retailer, Gobi Milan, printed on the dial. So I guess it would be the equivalent of, you know, a Tiffany Rolex. It sold at auction for $12.2 million. Number 7, another Patek Phillipe reference 1518. It's a steel watch. It was the first perpetual calendar chronograph that Patek Phillipe ever made, and it was made back in 1941. Despite all its complications, the watch only measures 35 millimeters in diameter, which is really something. Only 281 examples of this Patek Phillipe reference 1518 were ever produced, and they were typically made in yellow or rose gold, so it's exceptionally rare to find one in stainless steel. Only 4 pieces were known to be made in stainless steel. Furthermore, it comes on a beautiful stainless steel bracelet, which is really something special. And it sold at auction for $16.3 million. Number 6 is a watch we all know and love. It's the Rolex Daytona reference 6239, the Paul Newman Daytona. This 2017 auction sale was kind of what started the Daytona hype that we see today. This watch was a gift from Paul Newman's wife. So on the back there's an engraving that says "Drive carefully." At the time when Paul Newman received this watch, the Daytona was not a hype model at all. In fact, it was kind of a dog in the range. So he truly did make this watch cool. And to get your hands on the original cool Daytona from Paul Newman, you would have had to spend $24.2 million at auction. Number 5 is a Jacob & Co. Billionaire watch. It's a weird watch. It's not exactly my taste, but it has 325 baguette cut and emerald cut diamonds. So if that's your thing, this is the watch for you. It's a tourbillon, and the movement is skeletonized, as you can see. It sold for $27.7 million. Number 4 is a Chopard 201 carat watch. I don't understand what I'm looking at here, so for this one I'm just going to read what Boss Hunting, the article, wrote about this watch. Set in a combination of both yellow and white gold, the centerpiece of this watch is a trio of 3 different colored heart-shaped diamonds with a combined weight of 39.52 carats. Included in this triplet is a 15-carat pink diamond, a 12-carat blue diamond, and an 11-carat D-color diamond. With the press of a hidden button, a spring-loaded mechanism opens the 3 stones like petals in a flower, revealing the face of the watch. Instead of a platinum bracelet, white and yellow gold was also chosen for the bracelet, which is heavily adorned with 260 not insignificant large-carat pear-shaped diamond stones. If diamond watches are your favorite way to spend $1 million or $30, this is for you. Yes, I agree. It's certainly an interesting watch, and it sold for $29.5 million. Number 3 is a Patek Philippe Henry Graves Super Complication. It was commissioned by a New York banker named Henry Graves Jr., and it has 24 different complications. It's a 74 millimeter watch made out of 18 karat gold and contains 920 individual components, featuring 2 dials a perpetual calendar, moon phase, split-second chronograph, sunrise and sunset times, and a celestial star chart. It also has a minute repeater with Westminster chimes, as well as Grande and Petite sonnerie. It sold at auction for $34.4 million. Number 2 is a Breguet Grande Complication number 160 Marie Antoinette. The watch was commissioned by a lover of Marie Antoinette, who went to the best watchmaker in the world at the time, Abraham Louis Breguet. Again, I'm going to read what they write here because it'll be much better than anything I can say about this watch. Nearly a century before the light bulb was invented, the Breguet workshop spent 44 years producing the incredible 63mm pocket watch. Unfortunately, this was too long for Marie Antoinette to ever receive the gift, as she was executed 34 years before it was completed. As a result of the decades it took to finish, this was likely one of Breguet's most expensive watches when it was finally delivered, costing 17,070 francs. The Marie Antoinette masterpiece was thought to be lost when it was stolen from an Israeli museum in 1983, but was recovered in 2007 and was estimated to have a value of $30 million. For centuries, there would have been no other expensive watches in the world that would even come close. The timepiece features a transparent rock crystal dial, and the movement tells not only the time, but the temperature, celestial time, and power reserve. It also has a minute repeater and a chronograph, making it a very complex watch by even modern standards. So there you go. It sold at auction for $44.3 million. And number 1, you guessed it, Patek Phillipe Grandmaster Chime, reference 6300A-010. Again, it was made for the Only Watch charity auction in 2019, the benefits of which raised money for research into Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Again, Patek Phillipe makes this watch as a regular production model. The only real unique features about this watch are the stainless steel case and the salmon dial, and that's what sold for so much money. It's a 47.7 millimeter case and it's 16 millimeters thick, so too thick for me, but it has 1,366 individual components. It's the most expensive watch ever auctioned at $45.8 million. So there you go. What do I think? I think people are overpaying for Patek Philippe. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, I'm personally not that interested in Patek. Probably because I can't afford a link for the bracelet of one. You know, they're not really my style. You know, 10 or so of these watches were Patek Philippe, and, you know, they dominate these big ticket auctions. Although I find it interesting, very few of these watches were of my taste. But I hope you enjoyed regardless. It's always interesting to see how much money certain watches sell for. If you'd like to see more reasonable watches, you can check out some of my videos where I go through eBay listings, like the top eBay listings, or the top sold Rolex watches. Because as you know, I'm a Rolex fanboy, and I only got to see 2 Rolexes on this list. So if you want to see more Rolex, check out my other videos, and subscribe if you like mediocre content. Alright, peace out.